Tammy, how are you doing today?
Oh, Rachel, I'm doing okay.
Well, it's good to see you again. How have you been since we saw each other last?
Well, things are getting better. My daughter and I were actually communicating a little bit better. You had helped me a little bit to understand what we were doing with the role play last time.
Mm-hmm.
So I kept, when I would talk to her, I would, think back to whenever we did that role play. I kind of, every time I would, go to talk to her, I would think, okay, I need to be in her shoes. I need to be in her shoes, so that I'd understand kind of where she was coming from, and that helped me to calm down, so to speak. Whenever we were having our conversations that usually don't go so well.
Yeah, well, that's good. I'm glad to hear that. And that's some of the things we've talked about have worked. Do you feel like there's still some areas maybe that need to be worked on to make y'all's relationship even better and be able to communicate better?
Yeah, I just don't really. I have fears with talking to her maybe about those hot topics, especially those things that kind of set her off.
Yeah.
So if you can help me kind of figure out, how do I feel like maybe sometimes I like tiptoe around those things, but I still want to know, is she involved in alcohol? Is she, involved with sexual activity, that kind of thing? Because as a parent, I have fears about those issues.
Yeah. Well, I can assure you, all parents have fears about things, so that's a normal feeling to have, especially when they get into those teenage years. And there's a lot more things they're exploring in their lives. So, let's see. Now, you mentioned hot topics with her, and it sounded like you might be saying she kind of gets upset about these things if you talk to her about them. Now, do you also feel like you might get upset too, and maybe in a way that she hears the change in your voice or sees a change in your body with that?
Yeah, that could be possible. I mean, if I have fears about asking her and then my tone is not right, when I ask her about it, I'm more condescending to her, and I guess maybe then that's why she has the reaction she does when she, answers me, because usually it kind of goes down with, Mom, come on, don't ask me those kind of things, so then we don't ever talk about it, which to me is frightening because then I still want to know, but she's not opening up. So
okay, so then she might be reacting to you already reacting. Is that what I'm hearing you say about it?
Yeah.
Okay, so then essentially it appears that your reactions aren't helpful now. And we've got to take a look at how we can switch up your reactions to then help switch her reactions to you. And then that will open up those lines of communication that you want to be able to talk about those hot topics. Because I think starting maybe from a lower level might be a little bit more helpful as opposed to jumping to those hot topics. Maybe take a look at how you handle it first. And then how you can handle it with her. What do you think about that?
That makes sense. I like that. Let's try some of that.
Okay, so the first thing is with emotions. You mentioned fear. So for you, what does that look like when you feel that fear about things with her?
Well, like when I found the beer can in her car, I immediately jumped to, oh my goodness, maybe she's drinking and driving, and that's something that really worries me because I don't want her to be involved in that situation anywhere around. I don't want her to get caught with it. Number two, I don't want her to it's not good because then it's a liability for me that
right.
If she is drinking and driving, then I got insurance issues and all kinds of things. So there's all kinds of fears for me that goes along with that.
So then when you want to talk to her about these things, all of these other thoughts seem to be coming into your mind, right? Is that what you're telling me?
Yes.
Okay. So then your head's spinning, and then she can probably pick up on that before you even try and talk to her about something, you might have that look on your face, because we all see it in our parents' eyes, right? You know, they got that look. So maybe it would help if we can figure out how to regulate your emotions, to stop the things like that from happening, so that you can then address those things with her in a calm and peaceful manner, without that worry and that, you know, that cycle happening of thoughts in your head. So something I wonder if it might help is using a word to stop yourself, to help with that emotional regulation. When you find that, you know, you start having those thoughts before talking to your daughter, what do you think a word is that would kind of lead you to being like, stop, Tammy? It can be any word, one that you laugh at, so then you realize, oh gosh, you know, I need to stop, or, you know, a serious thing, just one word.
Maybe not good. Oh, this is not good. I shouldn't be doing this. Maybe that would help me.
Okay. Would you be willing to try using that? And we can talk more about that then when you come back.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, just to kind of play with it and see how it works.
I think, you know, and maybe too, if she sees me kind of stopping myself before I jump into that, then I think maybe that will help her reaction as well.
That's good.
Okay.
Yes, definitely. Our kids will pick up a lot of things from us, especially how we're feeling and communicating. So I think that will make a big difference for you guys, to start with yourself and then let her see it. Like you mentioned, that's really good that you can notice that. So we're going to practice the stop words for stopping your thoughts before we meet next time. I'd also like to, and tell me if you'd be open to trying this as well, is doing like a weekly diary card, and maybe noting how that worked for you and then what happened after you used it, or if it was not successful, maybe mark down what those feelings were, that maybe prevented you guys from being able to have the conversation you want to have, or prevented you from being able to stop the thoughts.
So you're saying that I should start writing down times when we get into fights and what happened during the fight, and maybe how I could do that differently next time, so to speak, so I can understand for myself.
Yes, that
the way
not
I could
only
change with that.
Yes, not only fights though, even just regular conversations. So say it's a successful use of your stop word, to get that emotional regulation going. Write that down too, because then when something does go wrong in the future, you can look back and see maybe what you did that time that allowed it to be successful for you guys. So I think it would be helpful to have all of that down. Yeah, not just fights. Those could be helpful too for reflection and kind of looking back on what happened in your process. But definitely all of it, and kind of do it on a weekly basis. Just allow some time to reflect on it. Does that sound okay to you?
I can do that for sure.
All right. Well, then I will see you again in a couple of weeks.
Okay.
All right. If anything comes up, feel free to give me a call. Other than that, I hope these things work well for you, and it's good to see you.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Rachel, and I'll see you again probably, what you said, 2 weeks down the road?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And then we'll touch base about all this again.
All right. Well,
Okay.
thank you so much.
Thank you. Take care.